Hello everyone, it's me Jenny. It's time for another movie review thing, and today I'm going to be talking about Dirty Dancing 2 Havana Nights, which was bought for me as a birthday present last year, or a Christmas present last year. Either way, it's been a good long time since this was bought for me and I've only just got around to watching it. And my quick review is, it's an enjoyable dance film. It's not a great dance film, and it is most definitely more enjoyed if you went into it not knowing the title. The thing with this film is it's not a prequel, it's not a sequel, it is an homage story base, but completely different in terms of atmosphere and characters. When I say it's a story homage, every single beat in this, every single plot point is taken straight from Dirty Dancing 1. You have the two young lovers, you have the sister, you have the parents who disapprove of the relationship, you have the Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers, you have getting to know each other through dance and having to do a dance performance for some non sequitur reason that actually is more important than the actual reason for doing the dance. And you have all of those and then set in Cuba, which is beautiful. The scenery is lovely. It felt a lot flatter than the previous one, and there is chemistry between the leads, but it's not the same intense chemistry that you got from Dirty Dancing 1. And the story, the serious story, the thing about Dirty Dancing 1 that made it fantastic was it had the serious story, it had the, you know, state of affairs for young women in that era. This one had the Cuban Revolution as a backstory, which is fascinating, and it was really interesting going with that perspective as the background story that does intersect with the lead characters. It just felt a little bit jarring, like it was an overstuffed film. It was trying to be this light-hearted romance and also a Cuban revolutionary film. And it almost works, it's so close to working, but the thing that I think that stops this from working is the fact that the original Dirty Dancing is an 80s perspective of a 50s story, a 60s story. So it's 80s looking back on the 60s. So it's set in the 60s, but it has a very 80s perspective. The music's very 80s. The hairstyles are very 80s, even though they're technically designed to look 60s, they're very 80s. This is a early 2000s throwback to the 50s. So even though technically a lot of the stuff is 50s, a lot of it feels very thousands, including the music, including a lot of the costume choices. And even though there's a lot of effort put into trying to make it true to the time period, it intensely feels very 90s. And that is slightly too much of a distance in terms of time span for it to really correlate. The music, though okay, didn't quite have the same impact that great 80s power ballads do, the ones that you can listen to again and again and again and you can get emotion from even without context. These songs, though perfectly adequate, I wouldn't really want to listen to again and again. If I heard them on the radio, I wouldn't have associations. If I were to, you know, you don't automatically get up and dance to those music for the most part. Some of them you can, and like some of the audio, as I said, is great, but it's so important to a dance movie to have those wow moments, those spectacle moments, and a lot of those kind of fell flat just because I wasn't as invested in those musical beats and those directorial beats. I felt like the directorial beats in the original Dirty Dancing were much clearer, much stronger. So you had the moment on the log in the forest, and the moment in the lake, and the moment on the stage, and all of those really key moments that you visualise thinking about Dirty Dancing. This one, there's one or two key moments, but generally it's relatively forgettable. And I think it's really sad that it's being compared to Dirty Dancing, that it's got the title of Dirty Dancing, because it's a fascinating original story based on real events, based on a real memoir of a woman who went to go to Cuba when she was a young girl and learned to dance there. There are so many fascinating, interesting aspects of the story, but because it's so tightly bound to the Dirty Dancing kind of copyright, as it were, it kind of is spoiled, because you have this excellent film which is a thing in its own right, this epic power ballady 80s romance, versus this slightly mixed messaged early thousands film which is perfectly adequate. The chemistry is okay between the actors, the acting throughout is really good, all-star cast, the dancing is adequate, the music is adequate, the direction has some okay points, the costuming's quite nice, the set work is really nice. It just didn't feel as good, and it's a shame that you have to compare it to the first one. But there we go. Patrick Swayze's in this. He's a cameo, which is the reason why I can't say this is a prequel or a sequel, because he is definitely not within the right age in order for it to be set in the right time period for him to be the same character. So it's just a whole other thing. This is an entire separate story, so I wish they'd just given it a different title and not the branding of Dirty Dancing, because I feel like it would have been a more enjoyable film had it not had the comparison. But there we go. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment, and I will see you guys all soon for another movie review of some kind. Bye!